Hey everybody, sorry I'm about 5 minutes late tonight. Just got back with Charlie, sat down. I still got a couple things to do here to get ready for you guys. So bear with me just a moment. Welcome to everybody. I want to start out by thanking everybody that supports the channel through either Patreon, PayPal, or other ways. All the links are in the description. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. To see who we got here. I haven't even been able to look. Oh, we got a lot because a lot of DCM. You were definitely the first one. Jason Frew, second one. Elaine. Let's see. Well, you guys had a good conversation going. Elaine Kane, Sticky H2O. Let's see. That's what it was. You all were talking pretty good here. Marty. Elaine Kane. Michael B. Hopefully I'm not missing anybody. John Reinhardt. Hello, John. And let's see. Markio 306. Carbide. Hello, Carbide. CK. Camgo. Rethink. Included in my dream. We're going to get into this a little bit. WW Ocean, hello, and Sticks, J-Reb, Maven, Twisted Clown, Robert Klotz, hello, hello. The Vein, Pennsylvania, Robert Klotz. I called it The Vein when I lived there. I don't know why. It wasn't disrespectful. I just called it The Vein. It was easier to say than Pennsylvania. You know, I live in the only two states in the whole country, Pennsylvania and Arizona, where a lot of people just use the, like in Maryland, I lived in Maryland, most people don't say, I live in MD, or I live in Delaware, I live in DE, no, it doesn't happen. In Pennsylvania, I live in PA, that's a lot. Arizona, you say AZ, too, people say AZ. Anyway, I got to get to my mailbox, because there's a couple of things I got to show you guys. That's what all the clicking is about. And sorry for the tire once again. It is burning up in here. Got it cooling the best I can. But I wasn't here to get it cool early. It looks like on the extended forecast, we got about 10 days of this left. Maybe by next weekend it breaks. That would be nice. That would be right on schedule too, pretty much. Usually around the middle of the month it breaks here in Arizona. And then we start actually getting cool mornings again. I wanted to show you something. For those of you who know Wendell Walton, he's the guy that actually coordinated the entire Salton Sea thing. He went there in advance and scouted the place out, found all the places where we could set up our mirrors and lasers and different things like that. This is incredible. One thing that I sent did not come through. Let me see if it came in as trash. Nope. It was from the Gateway Pundit. But we'll get there. So let me get this image here. So what's everybody think of Nazi Joe, huh? Nothing like living in Nazi Germany days. Isn't that interesting? Oh, and you probably missed the news. If you weren't tuned in to watching the what happened on Steve Bannon's show, you missed some big news that actually did come out on trumpets. It wasn't picked up by any of the media. What a surprise. And that has to do with the election here in Arizona. So let me share this first, so you can see, because I told Wendell I would share this. Flat Smack Films presents an exclusive social event. So if you're in the LA area or can travel to LA, this is for tomorrow. It says you and your guests are cordially invited to attend the Southern California screening of Flatlanders Episode 1. And let me just get back to make sure you guys are seeing this. You are. Okay, good. Let me make it a little bit larger if I can. I can't blow it up anymore in Paint because it's too blurry. Anyway, it says when, Saturday, September 18th, 2021 at 8 p.m. So that's tomorrow night. I'm sorry, that's next Saturday, not this Saturday. And I apologize again for the sniffles. I still have this crud going. Still fighting it off. Anyway, Saturday, September 18th, 2021 at 8 p.m. I thought it was this Saturday. But it's next Saturday. New Collective Theater, 6440 Santa Monica Boulevard, Los Angeles, California. Look for the Flatlanders marquee, free street parking. You must be vaccinated to go to this. No, I'm just kidding. Doors open at 7:30 p.m. and showing begins promptly at 8. Seating is limited. RSVP required. RSVP no later than the 15th. That would be Wednesday. To info at flatsmackfilms.com. Flat, singular, then smackfilms.com. Info at flatsmackfilms.com. I like this. The truth isn't for everyone. That's for sure. That is for sure. Good call out on that one. Now, let me see what happened to my Gateway Pundit article that I wanted to show you. I just can't believe that it didn't get there. What I'll do is let me look it up instead of sending it to my mail. Let me look it up and just go directly to it because this is important. This was released on the day of the Feast of Tabernacles. And it is big news. But, of course, nobody in the media picked it up. And this is all allegedly, right, guys? This is allegedly. Why doesn't the Gateway Pundit come up? What is Gateway Pundit? The conspiracy something. The conspiracy hawking site at center of bogus Florida crisis actors. Okay. Google won't give you a link to them. It is so sad how bad how much of Nazi Germany we really are. Gateway Pundit currently does not have any sponsors for you. Whatever that means. Let's try it again. Now I'm in. What is this here? The Gateway Pundit interviews President Donald Trump. Did you hear his interview on Newsmax a couple days ago? I don't know what's wrong with him. I just don't. He keeps doubling down on stupid. They were interviewing him. It was going fine. Then all of a sudden he gets to the jabs. And he says, and he starts bragging about it again and developing it so fast and this, that, and the other. And he just went even further this time. This time he says, and if we didn't do it, it would have been as bad or worse than the Spanish flu. We would have lost 34 million people or 36, whatever he said. I was like, why are you being so stupid? India doesn't have any jabs, and they're not losing anybody. All right, let me, can I search on the Gateway Pundit for this article? If not, I'm just going to read it. Members of Congress and their aides are exempt from Biden's vax mandate. Just like Hitler. Hitler was Jewish, but he was exempt from being tagged. Psaki refuses to give an answer when asked why American workers are required to be vaccinated, but illegal aliens are not. And I understand 30-some% of them refuse to get vaccinated, and they're like, okay. Developing, Joe Biden will not speak at any 9/11 memorials on Saturday. His handlers are terrified of the likely response. Have at it. Joe Biden taunts Republicans vowing to fight his unconstitutional vax mandate. It's beyond unconstitutional. I can't find the article. All right, I'm going to have to do it the hard way. Oh, no, there's a search once you click on that. Okay. Then I'll share it on the screen. I'm not looking at the chat, by the way, so I can't see anything. Now it's redirecting. I want to search. We have a lot of bugs in Arizona because it got so freaking cold here. Now, what I'm about to read you is not the official Arizona result. This is the result of an individual or an individual and a company checking certain things, not checking everything, just checking certain things in the Arizona election. Allegedly, all of this, YouTube, all of this is allegedly. Let's make sure we get that straight. Allegedly. Just to show you how foolish these people are to report this stuff, right, YouTube? We have to expose it for what it is. There we finally have it. All righty. Let me get back to it. Arizona may be the first domino to fall. Let's see what happens here. All right, you're not seeing what opened. Great. All right, I'm just going to read it. This little area here, all right, says, well, first it says, remember, Joe Biden only won Arizona by 12,000 votes. He actually won it by 11,000 something. Anyway, this is from, I guess, Praying Medic forwarded this. Results of the 2020 Maricopa County election canvass. 173,000 missing votes. 96,000 ghost votes. This is not the Maricopa County audit report. It is an independent report detailing the results of a canvass conducted by Liz Harris and a group of volunteers. This was a separate exercise from the Maricopa County audit the Arizona Senate is sponsoring. Liz Harris broke this news this morning. For all of those who knew this election was those who were ridiculed or labeled conspiracy theorists, you have been vindicated. So anyway, these people don't even exist, and they voted. So they're ghost voters. So it's a total of 173,000 fake news. I'll put 100. What did I put? 144,000. Yeah, I undershot it actually. Lost votes, 96,389 ghost votes. So there you have that. And That's just looking at one little tiny aspect. It's not looking at the paper and the ballots that came in boxes, and it's not looking at blanks and bad paper, and it's not looking at the machines, and it's not looking at those that were identified as a computer dot instead of somebody making the dot, and on and on and on. Yes, that too. Did we know about this in the last stream? The backpacks emptied into drop boxes on camera. Has that been released anywhere? I haven't seen it. It was supposed to be released soon, where you were going to see all these people with backpacks, which is totally illegal, even under that bullcrap agreement that the Secretary of State and that lousy Democrat came together with for the drop boxes and all that. They were still only supposed to have one person, one dropping off one ballot. So what we're seeing here, did I do the 4-question survey on Liz Harris's site? It's for all states. No, I don't even know about it, Mike. 4-question survey. Or do I know about it? Is it Liz Harris? What do you mean site? Is it Telegram or something else? They had to use the FOIA Act to get the footage released at the moment. Oh, it's a voluntary online canvas. I can tell you that my son Michael voted, and when he went to check, it said, no, your vote did not count. I did check mine, and it said your vote did count. Icewell says, why isn't there millions of Americans running for president every time, only a few select families? Because you have to have a lot of money and you have to be connected. Otherwise, you get squashed. Even if you are connected as far as you're into politics already, a.k.a. Ron Paul, you're going to get squashed if you're not part of them. You have to get it on DuckDuckGo. Google won't allow it. www.canvas50.com. Well, that doesn't surprise me. It changed it to canvas50.org. Take 30 seconds to fill out the simple form. Additionally, make sure to share this link with everyone you know. How did you vote in the November 2020 election? By mail-in ballot or dropped ballot. That was me. What name are you registered to vote under? Don't know if I want to do this part. The 11th election, what address did you vote for them? I don't like this. Why should I trust that, Mike? Or should I? I don't know. All right, I'll fill it out. This is only 4 questions. I'll do it now. Okay. Phone number. Chances are I won't answer, but there it is. Says, then it takes you to Maricopa County Canvas Report Final. Canvas Report, 173,104 lost votes, 96,389 ghost votes. So there we have it. So I go ahead and I did it. Ron Paul's too old. So is Biden. I think Biden might be older than Ron Paul. Maybe not. Ron Paul's not running. Ron Paul hasn't run since 2016 anyway. Or 2012. I think 2012. Does anyone know if Biden's had a black eye in the near past? Let's search for that. Biden, black eye. Usually they show up. Ooh. He had some kind of something creepy like a blood vessel break in it. Ew, that is just, it's awful looking. I'm not even going to show it. It's like pink eye on steroids. Now, there is none on this one. Let's go to DuckDuckGo. See if we get something different. Do we get that same creepy thing? Oh, that's one of the grossest broken. There is a picture of Biden with a black eye, a black chin, and a cut on his forehead. It says, "Let's punch the crap out of domestic violence." It is a, I guess it's an ad for him. So that means we should all punch him because he's done some domestic violence right in front of the cameras in the White House. Nope, I do not see a picture of him with a black eye. Said Joe Biden's left eye exploded. Let's see what this is. It's not Joe Biden, sorry. Play again later. Yeah, I don't see any of him. Usually when you search for that, you'll find it. Adrenochrome black eye. Allegedly. Now, if you go to Google, Arthur, it says, fact check, Biden's eyes are still blue. And actually, in his latest stuff, his eyes are blue. Biden is older than baseball. Very good sticks. So what I'm looking to see is, and I got a notification from them. Thanks for taking the time to help by completing your survey. Anyway, how many people saw, you can go to, let me pull it up. This is what we need to see here. Let me get it for you guys. See if this is it. Was it Mark Tice where I saw that? No. Hold on. It is the Brazil protest. I saw that on Dr. Steve Turley, I believe. Come on, you got to see this. This is what has to be done here. It's not that video. We'll check one more video. If I can't find it, I can't find it. They're saying this is supporters of Bolsonaro hold protest in Brazil. That's not what I heard it was about. Brazil. This is what I heard it was about. Brazil, thousands protests against President Bolsonaro's COVID response. Thousands? How about hundreds of thousands, if not millions? Check this out. If we don't get it from Americans now with what just came out from Biden, we're not going to get it, I don't think. And it would be sad. But I think we'll get it. And I'm going to scroll through this so you can see this, guys. This is incredible. Which I shouldn't use that word because the British think that means not credible, which that's what the word means. Look at this. Now, I've been on this beach. This is in Rio. There's a helicopter that shows this, it goes on and on and on. Look at this. Thousands. So the anger is against the president because of his COVID response. This doesn't have the helicopter footage, but the helicopter footage shows it's hundreds and hundreds of thousands. This beach, all the way up where it curves around, all the way down, and then on the other side, it's packed, all in this area with people. Thousands, huh? I'm surprised he didn't try to say hundreds. Yes, Brazil's rocking sticks. Brazil is... a lot of places in Europe are. Meanwhile, USA. Hopefully this wakes them up. I'm not going to mention that either, Carrie. Read up Mike Ball's commentary on it. You got to be so careful, especially when you have two strikes. And one of them is for misinformation, which I haven't heard back yet because I actually asked him, what is, in this 3-hour video, what is misinformation? As you know, I've been very good to quote the CDC directly. And if it's not the CDC, I say it's bad and it's... always go by the CDC or allegedly. Roberts, you do not want to mess with that. Remdesivir. That's what they want you to eventually get. Nope. On that one. Oh, unless your doctor says it. I'm not a doctor. I'm a meteorologist. That's right, Anna. We always follow CDC guidelines. But even as far as I know, remdesivir isn't even, well, I don't know what they say about it. So I don't know. All I can tell you is you don't want any part of that. There was a doctor, trying to think if I have the link. There was a doctor who talked about that. I can't talk about it, but he said that it caused, how can I word this? It can cause some of the side effects, known side effects of certain things like that can be kidney failure, renal failure, congestion of the lungs, heart failure, but especially the kidneys and stuff like that. And those who have been given certain things like that is why most people have been getting a certain disease and dying of kidney failure, more in the U.S. than anywhere else. Of course, in the U.S., there's more of a percentage of people that get this certain drug, I don't know what it's called, that causes that. And this doctor was very clear on it and showed evidence. Certain things can be in place at certain times for population control, guys. The Georgia Guidestones at some point need to be acted on by the elite, allegedly. You're right. Denmark doesn't play. They're out too. That's right. Denmark says, we quit this game. Deep benders. Allegedly, remdesivir is toxic. Listen to your doctor, though. I'm not a doctor. Listen to the CDC and a doctor. How dare you say that? Are you a doctor? I'm sorry. Sometimes it's hard to keep a straight face. Yes, Denmark is out. Out. About once a week, we hear about a new country that's out. They're not playing the game anymore. There's another country I just heard today. Wasn't a major country, a smaller country. They just got rid of every single thing that had to do with a certain sickness. Everything. Said it's not even a factor in anything. So we're not going to do anything with it. Mom got the clot shot. Sorry to hear that, Carrie. My one stepson. This is why I think this latest thing by Biden may be a wake up. The one stepson I have, about as asleep as you get. I'm sorry, I don't even know how else to put it. He works from home. He works from home. His company said you have to get the you know what. So he got it, even though he works from home. That's how asleep he is. But he followed CDC guidelines, so good for him. But here is his comment on the new orders by Joe Biden. How are we going to let a bunch of How are we going to let a bunch of ancient vampires with dementia rule over us and force vaccines on everyone? Holy Shiite. Holy Shiite Muslim. So, it may be good news what happened with Uncle Joe. And if this is truly the time of reconciliation, there are some people that are going to be paying some major price soon. In case you don't know also, my brother called today and he said, what's going on with prices? He said, I looked it up and we're getting a 5% month over month increase. I said, yeah, and that's the lying government numbers, 5%. He said, there's some kind of bread he normally gets, some kind of whole wheat bread or something. He said it's usually like $2.89 a loaf. He went today to get it was $6.39, I think he said. He said, what's going on? I said, this is what happens when you print trillions of dollars and just mail it to people. This is what happens. So he said, he said, I haven't raised my prices. Should I? I was like, yeah, I'd raise them by at least 15%. And you might have to do it again. And he's cheaper than anybody anyway. So that's what he's going to do. Otherwise, you just fall behind. He said, well, what are you going to do? You're on a fixed income. I said, I'm doing the only thing I can do. I got rid of my car, so I don't have a car payment. I'm doing stuff like that. Oh, you're reading the list. Here's the list of governors who said that told Joe to stick it. Arizona, Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Iowa, Missouri, Mississippi, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, and Wyoming. Notice there isn't a blue state in there, not one. And we've got, I think it's 17 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 19. 2 have joined. I think the Idaho, Iowa, they've joined since I last saw. Not one yet. And as I was telling Mike Ball, I think the only reason why Arizona's in there is because our doofus governor, Mr. Tyranny himself, I think learned the lesson that you can't be tyrannical and win friends. You can't win friends and influence people by being a tyrant. I think he finally learned it. Elaine says the most biblical thing that could come out of flat earth, everything else would be exposed. Oh, that could come out is flat earth. We're a long way from that, though, Elaine. We have people thinking that the Federal Reserve is actually part of the U.S. government. We have people that think 3 buildings can fall by 2 airplanes, jet fuel, that is all consumed in one big boom. We have people that think that all 4 of the airplanes supposedly on 9/11 evaporated in the thin air. I mean, there's nothing left of them on the ground, but people think, oh yeah, that's the official story. We have people think that Lee Harvey Oswald, talk about going back, was the sole person behind the Kennedy assassination. We have people today who think that Vietnam, the Gulf of Tonkin event, was real, and it really was the North Vietnamese attacking us, not Israel. Even though all these things have been declassified. So if you come to flat Earth, they're going to be like, hey, give me some Drano to drink. I can't handle it. These people need to get this. We need to start jamming the people with truth, though. Yeah, I agree, Mike. Don't let Biden talk cause you anger or fear. This is what the people need. They need to see this in their face. Oh, and for those that I always get the comments on the channel later, says, any one of your predictions ever come true? How about the prediction that they were going to make it us versus them, vaccinated versus unvaccinated, and it's going to be the fault of the unvaccinated why people are sick and hospitals are filling up? That's exactly what Biden said, to the T. Atlantis will rise from the ocean. Hello, GoPro. That's right, Gulf of Tonkin. Well, how about the idiot? How many saw the commercial? I think it was a commercial. It was an ad for something, or maybe it was a head for a lead for a short series coming out or a movie or whatever. It was McNamara, who was the Secretary of State, I think, under Kennedy, and Lyndon Johnson under Johnson, McNamara. And he's sitting there all smug in a chair, and he's like, I don't know what it was exactly, but it was something very close to this. The Vietnamese, we saw Vietnam as the spread of communism. The Vietnamese saw it as a civil war. And then he kind of chuckles a little bit. We were wrong. I was like, F you. You know how many people died in Vietnam because you were wrong and you knew all the time it was bull crap because Gulf of Tonkin. How many people died in Vietnam? And I'm not just talking Americans. Death is death. It lasted from 54 to 75. The Vietnam War, a protracted conflict that pitted the communist government of North Vietnam and its allies in South Vietnam, known as the Viet Cong, against the government of South Vietnam. Something's not worded right there. Anyway, and its principal ally, the United States, called the American War in Vietnam. Come on, give us the numbers. Oh, God, just some of these names I see on the map here. You hear it every night on the news. Most of this happened in the 60s. I wasn't even 10 years old yet. This war ended with the United States. I was 12, 13 years old when this war ended, but I still remember it. I still remember Da Nang and Phnom Penh and Saigon. And I still remember it. Here we go. The human costs of the long conflict were harsh for all involved. They were harsh, people. Not until 1995 did Vietnam release its official estimate of the war dead. As many as 2 million civilians on both sides and some 1.1 million North Vietnamese and Viet Cong fighters. The U.S. military has estimated that between 200,000 and 250,000, that's 250,000, South Vietnamese soldiers died in the war. In 1982, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial was inscribed with 57,939 members of U.S. Armed Forces. Get off my page, you ad. Who had died or were missing as a result of the war. Well, guess what? If it's 1982 and you haven't found them yet, they're dead. Sorry. Maybe one or two were still alive and they just hooked up with somebody and got married. I don't know. 57,900 Americans. Over the following years, additions to the list have brought the past total to 58,200. How do you miss 58,200 at the time? It's because you don't want to tell the people what the true number is. And that's not including Canadians, South Koreans, New Zealanders, Thailand, Australia. We were wrong. We set it up. By the way, we don't owe France anything. Yeah. The Kazakhs. Yeah, they attacked USS Liberty also. Absolutely, 100%. This is what happens when you turn control to a government. They can say you're going to war, and you can't do anything about it. They can say on the 15th of September that you're going to get vaccinated, and there's nothing they can do about it. Duke says, putting an Alzheimer's patient up there as their puppet was not an accident. Why can't people see how they operate? And this has been in the works since the last time they ran the same script. You got me, Dukes. I mean, it's not even Biden. It's not even him. Makes me wonder who's real and who isn't real all over the place. Missouri saved the French wine industry. Don't know about that, but I'll take your word for it. But I ran into people in the military who were like, we owe France for what they did in the... I'm laughing because I'll tell you what he said that cracked me and this other guy up who knew a little bit more about history than he did. His name was Fusilier. And we ended up thinking he was a plant. He was so dumb, but yet he kept making it to these places where you needed intelligence to work. Anyway, he was in the weather office with us for a while. And finally, this guy, this first class petty officer, took him over to our division officer. And he said, if I gave you 50% of a candy bar, how much would you have? And his answer was, not very much, that's for sure. He didn't know. He had no clue. And he would have questions like, if 100 railroad cars passed a given point in an hour, how many passed in a half hour? No clue. And this is someone who's doing calculations and stuff, supposedly. I always checked his work, trust me, for the aircraft to land and take off and all that stuff on a sloped earth. So you really got to be careful. But anyway, he said, how soon people in this country forget how the French came to the aid of this country. And I thought he was going to say during the Revolutionary War. And he said, during the French and Indian War. And we just busted out laughing. If you don't know about the French and Indian War, they didn't come to the aid of this country. The French and Indians were fighting the British in America, and a lot of Americans fought on the British side. Anyway, if you watch, what's the movie? The Patriots. The French and Indian War comes up several times in that. But we don't owe the French anything. If we owed them anything, Vietnam paid it a million times over. Because it was a Vietnamese held, it was a French held territory. It was still part of the French Empire, Vietnam. But that was a war about cash, like they all are, really. So, Mike, have you heard anything at all about when Arizona is going to release anything? I just haven't had time to check anything. I haven't seen it on, I've been trying to check. That's crazy, Joe Bond. I'm not going to repeat that because I'm not a doctor, and that might go against CDC. Hello, Bonnie Gilbert. And Adrian. Countries don't start wars, politicians do. Yeah, it's always the leaders. The ones that are there to protect you. When I was talking to my brother today, it came to my attention. It really came to the forefront that people are afraid of not having a government. Because he said, what's going wrong in this country, he was talking to me. He's not exactly where I am politically. Well, I guess he really is. He's more of an anarchist than I am. But he's like, when did it get to where people are fearing the government instead of the government fearing the people? And I thought about that a little bit, and I think that the answer is that people are afraid not to have someone tell them what to do, or afraid not to have someone come to the rescue if there's a problem. They fear not having someone in control. That's the problem. Whale of Beef says Senator Winnie Rogers was interviewed today on the Stu Peters show about AZ audits. And any idea? Hello, Stanley. Trying to activate your phone for an hour and a half. Yeah, that's pretty long. That won't be deleted. Comments from regulars. Pardon me. Just to let you know, remember I told you that Michael and his stepson tested positive for COVID? Well, His father, the stepson, the actual father of the stepson, he's the one I talked to you about before, who wants to get the school to jab him. He's full. He's a libtard, full and full, and believes in it. He's talking to his mother about we need to get him vaccinated, and she's like, "No, we're not going to get him vaccinated." So now he comes down with it. All right, he tests positive, and the thinking is, "Oh, we really need to get him vaccinated." What is wrong with these people? They're so ingrained in God knows what. I don't even get, they say, it's a mental disorder, liberalism. This is beyond mental disorder. This is non-functioning brain cells. This is brain cells not functioning together. This is a disconnect somewhere. When you were a kid, if you had the measles, well, you didn't have to worry about getting the measles shot because you already had the measles. Same thing with chickenpox and smallpox and a bunch of other stuff. Because once you had it and you were done. All of a sudden that changed. Like all of a sudden, as we know, per the CDC, masks work. Suddenly they do. Yep, Angus, they are insane. Yes, make them fire you. And go see a nice lawyer because there's going to be, who's really going to make it out in these things? The lawyers, because there's going to be class action lawsuits. This is Marxist. I know someone that had it and recovered and recently got vaccinated. It didn't make sense to me. Well, I'm glad he got vaccinated because that way that'll stop the pandemic. Because this is what Biden say. This is the pandemic of the unvaccinated. Stats? Can we have some stats? I mean, if the CDC says it, it's obviously true. But I haven't heard a stat about that. Not one. Can't find it either. Yeah, the brainwashing practices are effective, D-Bender's one. Not only that, but it doesn't take much, does it? They're putting people on unpaid leave, which is different from being fired. Still, Anna, I agree with you. That's happening. But that is a financial hardship. That is an injury in legal terms. See a lawyer. I'm a meteorologist, not a lawyer. But it seems to me that is an injury. That's right. Lawyers work for the corrupt bar, but sometimes you want corruption to fight corruption. Hello, back for more. Not in France. What's happening in France now? They still going? Every weekend for like 14, 15 weeks they've been protesting. This is what needs to be done. Exactly, Mike. The mayor of Moscow made vaccine passports. The people of Moscow just stopped going to the places that required them. In a week, the owners of the businesses called the mayor. The mayor of Moscow, I guess, is what you meant to say. The owners of the businesses called the mayor, and he ended the passports. Starving the beast. It's the only thing that's going to work. Starving the beast. Hello, Weston. It's going okay. What happened to does anybody know about this? What happened to the people that were supposed to come door to door? France had to stop because their citizens were going crazy. But have they stopped? Now we are 7 days away from the recall election. I think it's 7 days away. California recall election. I think it's the 17th. You know, the election where you can print your own ballot and send it in. Just go to your own. We used to call it in the old days before it got really good with tracing and everything. Going to the editing department. I mean, I know someone personally who got their first home mortgage loan because they went to the editing department and edited how much they made per year. Tuesday, September 14th. So it's this Tuesday. Latest polls, I'm sure they show that they don't even show anybody close. Why? Why show anybody close? Keep 56%, remove 41%. No, too many people signed them remove. This is what they did in the allegedly what they did in the 2020 election. So that you thought the outcome was real. And why wouldn't you? It was real, wasn't it? Only, let me see. Keep +8 is the lowest one. That's Trafalgar. 1,088. Nobody has sampled more than 2,000 voters. There's a lot of people in California. However, when certain things are not on the up and up, what you do is you make the polls appear to give you the outcome that you're looking for. John says Newsom is having rallies in front of like 20 people. Screw the rallies. Biden came here with Kamala Harris in Phoenix, Arizona, his spot. Outside of Tucson, that's it. Nobody else in Arizona will come and see him. He goes there. They announce it in advance. 8 people show up. And he won the state by 11,000 votes. They come to your door about the vaccine. They were supposed to. The government announced that they were going to have people come door to door. I just haven't heard of it happening yet. But they were going to come to door to ask you or to try to get you to do certain things. I guess get vaccinated. And first of all, it's illegal. It's against HIPAA laws to ask you about your health information. And 2, if they're coming to your door, what does that mean? They know already in advance? Lane said, I would not want to vax knock on this group's doors. Just saying. Yeah, it wouldn't be fun. I can tell you they come here, it ain't going to be fun at all. Charlie might have his first time ever me saying, get him. Trying to see. No. Trying to see where you were living, Woke Bear. I get you. I don't even know what Charlie is. One of the most gentle dogs ever, but he acts like he is the biggest pit bull or Doberman out there. If he hears somebody in the middle of the night or whatever, and I'm usually one that says, "All right, it's okay, Charlie," or whatever. Then he calms down. If I didn't do that, first of all, if they have to actually open the gate to get into my house, because if there's a driveway there, and Charlie has access to that because there's a doggy door on the front. So they'd be walking right into the pen, so to speak. When the government suddenly appears in your bedroom. Oh, very good. Everybody has this 40 caliber sitting right next to him with jacketed yellow points, hollow points. They've been warned. Knockers. Duke says, I really don't want to find out what humans taste like. I refuse to die a coward's death. Did we talk before about the weird coincidence about what's the name of that pass in Oregon? The famous pass where they got caught in like a January or February snowstorm and they started eating one another. It's named after the family that did that. And then you have Jeffrey Dahmer, same thing, eating people. And the names are very similar. Donner, that's it, Donner and Dahmer. I mean, what's the chances? Stanley, yeah, people should read your comment. I can't show it. Does anybody know what's going on with Long Beach, California, and the boats not being allowed to come in there? Evidently, that's a big part of the supply chain problems that are going on. And I don't know why there's an issue there. I actually took a picture to show you guys. Remember I told you that they were limiting 2 bottles of water, 2 gallons of water at my store. But then they changed it to this. Got better. Limit 6 large pack waters, or if you at the bottom it says this includes gallon jugs. So there are the gallon jugs right there. So I can get 6 now. If I were you, I would make sure you had water. Probably toilet paper. Yeah, J-Rev, lots of containers of water. I've seen people show it. They're all there. There's tons of them. But they're like in a line parallel to the coast. They're not coming in. I don't know what's going on there. 130 for Pam, Dane Mastiff mix, who just love to play with some health department folk. Aren't they really, though, gentle dogs? Those really big ones. I mean, they're scary as hell because of how big they are. But everyone I've ever met was just a sweetheart. This is Mars. I've had a feeling. She says, I've been feeling a sense of peace come over me in recent days, feelings of hope and coming good news. Anybody else? Well, I'm certainly more positive than I was. And I'm not sure exactly what changed it. I just feel it. No, dudes, we didn't eat toilet paper to survive last time, but I had to borrow toilet paper from people that I knew. Didn't need it to survive, but it's not nice not to have it. And the only reason to get it isn't because because of survival. That's not it. It's because of the stupidity of the people. They're actually dumb. I never had much elevated thoughts of the general public to begin with, but I didn't realize that they were that ignorant. There's no other way to put it. Ignorant. That when this COVID pandemic hit, they ran out and bought toilet paper and paper products, paper plates, paper towels, paper cups. You couldn't get paper products anywhere. Meanwhile, all the food on the shelf is just overflowing. Nobody's buying that. So while everybody was going for toilet paper and all that stuff, which I missed out on because all of a sudden it was gone, couldn't get it, I'm buying food. Then a couple weeks later, you couldn't find meat and different things like that. There were shelves empty all over the store. I just could not believe the stupidity of the people. So because of the stupidity of the people is why you have to worry about toilet paper. Not that you can't survive without it, but I don't think it's going to get to the point where it's going to be a survival thing. It's just nice to have water. And it's definitely nice to have toilet paper because people are stupid. Oh, and remember you couldn't get sanitizer. Not that I would ever buy it anyway. But you couldn't get related products. Remember alcohol, rubbing alcohol? Couldn't get it anywhere for months because people were making their own homemade sanitizer. And how about these commercials? You've seen these stupid, dumb commercials about this long-lasting spray that kills bacteria and viruses, supposedly, on surfaces for 24 hours. And then a little thing pops up, including the COVID-19 virus. And it shows the kids touching the doors over and over and over again. Exactly what you need to ruin your immune system. Don't give yourself any germs. They got people at home worried about being at home and touching where somebody else has. People buy it, man. They buy it. Weston Stone, Biden and Fauci on TV every day talking about COVID and the unvaccinated. As I predicted, we are the enemy. If you aren't following CDC, of course I follow it, but if you don't get vaccinated, you're the enemy. You got it, Elaine. I stayed home for 4 months straight last winter. COVID doesn't scare the people, though. Yeah. The lack of critical thought in the general public is astounding. September 11th predictions. I got a feeling something good's going to happen on that day. I don't know what, but if anything happens, I think it'll be good. Now, I wouldn't be going to, isn't there supposed to be like some kind of patriot, quote unquote, rally in DC or somewhere? I wouldn't come within 500 miles of there. Whale of beef, thank you. Thumbs up helps. Yeah, thank you very much. Listen says, I hope something good happens. I do understand now with the what devolution means. I still don't really have an opinion on it other than if devolution is true, I don't like it because it means the Constitution was suspended. And anyway, I don't want to get into it because I don't know all the details yet. But initially, I don't like where I don't like where it started. You heard Trump is speaking somewhere tomorrow. I hope he doesn't triple down on stupid and ever say that again, that we'd have 34 million people dead like the Spanish flu if he didn't do what he did. The presence of D.C. is for those who have been held in prison over the January 6th protest. I heard the organizer and he made a good point. Yeah, but would you go there, Mike? They'll probably say that's an insurrection. So if they made it, the thing is where they're gathering. I wouldn't go to D.C. That's like what they own that. Yeah, I understand that point. They make us afraid to even gather and protest peacefully when they have already won. But they've already done that anyway with the COVID crap, with the COVID CDC guidelines that everybody should follow. Charlie, what are you doing? You want to come on here? Want to come see me? Come here. Come here, we show them. No? Okay. You know what? I don't know what you keep doing to your bed here. He's leery. I tried to get him. He backed up. Yes, DC sucks. F4 says FF incoming at that event. See, what they did was they turned January 6th into a FF. That's what they did. They used it as a trap. And it's their center. It's easy for them to use it as a trap. They have everybody under their control there. They have the DC police. They have well, that's all you need. They have the DC mayor. They have the private police and private people that protect Congress and all that stuff. They haven't won a damn thing yet. Who said they won something? Did I? I think they did win with trapping people on January 6th. I agree with Devolution. Trump's message is starting to sound really out of date. He needs to start giving us hope, in my opinion. Stick says you can read, you can listen, and that's up my alley. You can listen to Devolution on Odyssey if you don't have time to read it. Let's see. That's good to know. Thanks for that. I'd much rather listen than read it. It was from listening to someone talk about it in detail. Well, I shouldn't say in detail. The overview of it. I didn't like the fact that they said it was this was sort of like a contingency plan that came up under the Eisenhower administration, where if certain things happened in government or whatever, they could suspend the Constitution and they would give military personnel and some other personnel control of a contingency government. Now, what he didn't give details on is how long they're allowed to, because he said the Constitution is suspended. So if that's in effect, I mean, the Constitution's gone anyway. They took away the First Amendment, which is the most important one, and they were successful with that. And the Fourth Amendment's gone, right to privacy. And they're really going to attack that. I see that with Biden's plan, which hopefully is enough to wake people up. But we're going to see. We're going to see with what's happening now, how many people this wakes up. Dukes. Now listen, Dukes, you have to go by the CDC guidelines. You know, 2 people that died from the jab, they probably didn't listen to CDC guidelines. Sorry to hear that, Dukes. I can't believe I never thought I would ever hear from a president of the United States saying, if you don't ingest this into your body and you work for a company that has 100 or more employees, you're going to be fired. Think about that. That's in the preamble to the Constitution. It says that the government has the right to tell you to ingest anything in your body for you to be able to do commerce. So I'd be interested with finding out. I guess I'll listen to it on Odyssey. I'm interested in finding how long that there should be a deadline for that. It should never happen in the first place, but there should be a deadline. Let's say it was absolutely necessary to do it. I don't know all the details, so I'm not going to judge it harshly yet. But whenever I hear the Constitution is suspended and the people don't know it, I don't like it. The Constitution are your guaranteed rights. It's like when you go in the military, they tell you actually have more rights in the military. You're under the Uniform Code of Military Justice and the Constitution. So you actually have more rights. Oh my, what a crock. You heard on X22 report that Biden extended that Trump executive order about election interference. That's probably correct. Now, I heard that Biden extended a Trump executive order, but I didn't know which one it was. So that's interesting to know, if that is the one. It's weird because it was one of those rare little snippets, little 20-second snippets that I'll watch from ABC News or whatever, because it said Biden extends Trump-era executive order. And I watched the whole thing. It didn't even say. So it was like, okay. CDC whistleblower claims over 45,000. Well, he needs to be fired, E-Benders, because he's going against CDC guidelines. Anything not covered by UCMJ is covered under this article. Yeah. Oh. I can tell you what. If you go to court-martial, it's not the Constitution that's judging you. It's the UCMJ. Now, they're similar, but you don't have as many rights under the UCMJ. I'm sorry you don't. And saying putting one on top of the other gives you more? Sorry. Sorry, no. JMC says, anyone of faith attend church or not can claim religious exempt, and if quiz, refuse your faith is sacred beliefs and as personal as your marriage privacy. I wonder if that is part of the mandate, that unless religious or whatever. See, they're walking some really tight lines. Rich Flett says Biden is playing a scripted role. Well, unfortunately, if he is playing his scripted role and the people don't wake up after this, then something deeper's got to go down to wake them up. That's not good. Can't report on that, Dukes. That's against CDC guidelines, but people should read it anyway. I can tell you that if this happened in the 70s, like my parents' generation, 60s, 70s, we wouldn't have gotten this far to begin with, but it would already been chaos in the streets. But my parents' generation and my grandparents, they didn't have the school indoctrination that starting with my generation had and onward. Ivermectin is repurposed to kill parasites. Do the math. Oh, didn't know that, Mike. Current smokers and vapors are exempt from the FDA-approved vax. I wonder why. Hello, Focal Shift. Just to let you know, my daughter-in-law, Michael's wife, and her son, who they both tested positive for whatever this is, bacterial most likely. But in doubt, go to the CDC. She called a holistic doctor, and the holistic doctor prescribed, think about it now, a Z-Pak, which that's azithromycin, that is an antibiotic, which supposedly has no effect on viruses, none. That's not against CDC or anything, that's a fact. A Z-Pak, something for the lungs. I can't remember the name of the. I don't even know if it's a drug. I think, was it vitamin C? Let's just say some vitamins, and last but not least, ivermectin. And the ivermectin is the one where, in case you missed it on the last stream, she was told by several pharmacists that they can't get it anymore, and one pharmacist said they stopped us from giving it to you. So she went to a compounding pharmacy, and the compounding pharmacy got it for them. It's kind of interesting because Michael said he takes 8 pills, I think he said 8 3-milligram pills in the morning, and that's it. But he said it makes him want to sleep. Yes, Z-Pak is for bacterial pneumonia. Bacterial pneumonia. If you have what they say is viral pneumonia, it won't do anything. So they say. Vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc is effective. Yes, I went out and I've got zinc and vitamin D, and you guys know about the oregano. And because vitamin C is hard to get, because ascorbic acid is not vitamin C. It's not. I went out and got green peppers, which is the most natural vitamin C you can get in any kind of food that I know of. And I got some oranges because I like oranges. Sticky says, yep, people are really dumbed down, especially here in Oz. Yeah, it's this doesn't have to be the Great Awakening, really, as much as the Great Educationing, if you want to use that word that way. Yes, rose hip vitamin C, not ascorbic acid. That's right, Dr. Moore. CDC guidelines are the best. Ask your doctor. Corey Murphy says, Joe Biden needs to be court-martialed and charged with treason. Why? He's just trying to get those stupid people that would keep refusing. This whole thing would be over with. I mean, the signs here in Arizona say it. When it end COVID-19, get vaccinated. It's very simple. The only problem, hello, Jacob Law. The only problem is, I'm hesitating because I wanted to ask Jacob Law something. Hopefully it'll come to me. Like I said, I don't know where to go. There's so many incentives. $100 here, 20% off groceries here, 10% off of this here, 2 tickets to a future Orioles game. I don't know where to go to get the best incentive. So that's why I haven't gotten it yet. I'm so torn between all this. There's so much money and bonuses they're throwing at me. Thought rosehip can cause bleeding. Don't know about that, Mrs. Marks. Look it up. I don't know. I really don't know about that one. You ever caught a cold when you had weed? Only a minute you were out of weed. Oh, that's right. The Benders and Dukes, Krispy Kreme for a whole year. You get it, isn't it? Now I told you the toughest one for me to resist. In fact, I might even have to come up with a card for this one. Is if Dunkin' Donuts said you get free coffee for a year, I'd have a card soon. So read between the lines with that one. Did you hear China got caught sending tons of fake vaccination cards into the U.S.? They were $15 a piece, I think they said. Robert Young played Dr. Welby, MD. Yes. You know, when I go to the VA, it's always that show or Hazel or Dennis the Menace. Every single time I go nuts. You're sitting there waiting and waiting. You hear the same things over and over. I'm sorry, but the humor of the 50s is just not there anymore. Not for me, anyway. Everybody read Mike Ball's comment and then curse at him for putting it up there. He's going against CDC guidelines. I'm putting it up there. Go and look at that site. You will not believe what those people are doing. If people would just get the freaking shot. Over here, China. You know, I know somebody. I won't get specific, but I know somebody who's good at getting fake stuff, right? And has no problem with it, no conscience with it. So I went to this person. I said, what about a fake card? I'll just say that. And he ended up texting me back saying, I don't feel right doing that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Fauci. Ugh. That's right. How dare Mike Ball go against Fauci and the CDC? Arm of Light, they're a little better tonight, right now anyway. I kind of blasted myself so I didn't sniffle too much here. But I had a rough time earlier today. I'm still dealing with whatever this is. I don't, what day was it? Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere in there. Yesterday? Day before yesterday, Wednesday. I actually didn't feel good. I just didn't feel myself. And I know, like, I love to go to the gym, and I just enjoy it. And I was there, and I was like, oh, can I make it another 10 minutes? That type of thing. And I just didn't have the energy. It's just, I wasn't myself. And I didn't quite feel right, but I can't say I felt bad. But I think what it is something is just trying to come on, and I keep successfully fighting it off enough. So I think I'm slowly draining it away. How many people saw? Oh, you know what I heard? I heard that you can go to a vet store, like places that have things for dogs and horses and farm animals, that kind of thing. And they make ivermectin for horses. And in case you don't know, guys, medicine for animals is, generally speaking, the same as for humans. No difference. It's just cheaper for the horses. That's all. But anyway, they make a tube of ivermectin for horses, and it's called injectable, but that just means you inject it in their mouth. It's not a needle. It's a tube. It almost looks like a caulking tube. And I saw a video of a guy. It was horrible because he's going against CDC guidelines. He goes, you can go here and get this ivermectin, and you can, it gives you, I think the lowest dose is for a 250-pound animal, for a 250-pound horse. So he was telling you how to graduate it down for whatever your weight is. See if I can find it real fast. What a heretic. Uh-oh. There's a new Ivy Intel. Guess we're still waiting on the revaluation. Let's see. Here it is. Would anybody be interested in seeing that? It's how to measure ivermectin horse paste doses. Simple. And I can actually, this is actually on YouTube and it's still up there. Wow. Bonnie Gilbert, yes, the Tractor Supply. Yes. Fleet Farm. I don't know some of these places, but you can walk. You probably, well, maybe you haven't, but I've been in these places where they service animals. Especially when I was in Pennsylvania, it was all over the place because it was farms everywhere. And there's drugs just on the shelf for everything. Um, Let me play it for a second.
Okay.
All right. Now I will have it in my history. I can give you guys the link. Somebody will want it. How to measure ivermectin horse dose pace. Simple. And it is simple. He doesn't quite go into a lot of detail that some people might need, but if you weigh 125 pounds, you turn out a quarter of the way. 100, what? Figure it out. Do the math. But it's heretical. Just to show you how heretical it is, here's the link. Exactly, Anna. These idiots are taking the injectable form 1 cc per 100 pounds body weight every 48 hours, so 3 times total against CDC guidelines. Yep. What you need to do is find out what a human normally would be given a day. Like I said, I think Michael said he takes 8 3 milligrams tablets. That's 24 milligrams once a day. And I think he only has to take it for 6 days, I think. Then he's done. And it has a good link for measurements. Yeah, Anna. If you drop off the HTTPS or the .com at the end, you can probably post it. Bonnie says, I heard they were making you bring in a photo of your horse to get it. Well, that should be easy to do today. If you can't get a picture like there's Charlie right there. You can't get a picture on your phone of a horse. You know what? I have pictures of horses on my phone. I actually do. Because when I lived out in the boondocks here in Arizona for a couple of years when I was almost homeless, waiting on the Social Security for their 3-year wait, I would take Charlie on walks, and he ended up getting used to and liking being around these horses. They were always on the other side of a fence. But let's see if I can find it real fast for you. It was actually pretty cute the way they interacted. The horses were just as amazed at Charlie as he was at the horses. But I do, if I could, I have horses in a bin. I can say, yeah, here's the horse in their corral. Well, I'd really have to go back, but I do have them still on my phone. James C. If asked to explain religious exemption, ask if you can have a Bible study at work or prayer and praise. When they say no, tell them no. Very good. Lee says, I don't give my animals any meds I can't take myself. Yep, good for you. No one taking this stuff will have worms. We all have worms. We all have worms. And though worms destroy this body, yet in my flesh shall I see God, which really is, yet without my flesh shall I see God. It's the way I think it is. It doesn't matter. You can be in the best, pristine, sealed, hermetically sealed for 10,000-year coffin or urn, or not urn, but a coffin, where no air gets in, no moisture, whatever. You open that thing up in about 20 years, all your flesh is gone from the worms. It's right here. We all have parasites. And if we didn't, we wouldn't be alive, actually. They actually do some things for us. That's right, Anna. The CDC, that's why I posted, so the CDC, so YouTube can say, see? Because this was a YouTube video I shared the link in. Somebody should go after these people. Your general manager, the day after Pritzker reinstituted the mask mandate, was one of the only people not wearing the mask, besides me and a couple others. Pritzker. What's Pritzker? Never heard of that company. Some people had the a good verse for the mask mandate in the Bible, something about wearing a covering on your face or something. It was a good verse. I mean, I got to be honest, I never studied should we wear something over our face or not. I honestly never thought it would come up in life. There you go, Elaine. This is your Bible study group. We meet online for safety. Here's a notice from the local health authority indicating that ivermectin is temporarily discontinued for sales, Canada. It was Mike who sent me a link saying that they didn't accept Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson and all of them for whatever. They said stick it, and they gave everybody in the country ivermectin, and they have supposedly no cases versus Israel. But how can that be? Because that's going against CDC guidelines. You have Israel 90 to 95% or more have, you know what, and they're the worst, supposedly, allegedly. You got it, Matthew. It is crazy. First Amendment, gone. Sticks. I think I'm writing an Amish for Dummies book. You ever notice how the Amish always have the red rosy cheeks? You get so much oxygen. Carbide masks offend me. That's a good way to put it. They still offend me. I still have to catch myself sometime. I sort of got over it, being pissed off at people. But then it kind of crept back in a little bit because a lot more people were doing it again. Because they turned on the TV. Oh, look at all the press corps. If they're doing it, I better do it. The pandemic's back, and it's all the fault of those people. And it is. It's the fault of the people who didn't get the shot. Let's see. White House press conference. Just watch September 10th. That's today, when they don't answer questions about the mandate. Come on, show the audience. Show the audience instead of this redheaded ditz pretending she knows something. They didn't show the people in the audience once? No, not once. No, not even once. Let's try to see if we get another feed there. Wow. Let's try NBC. Ooh, you got the real news now. NBC News. 1.3K likes, 872 dislikes. 873 rather. Come on, show the people. There we go. There we go. I'll show you what gets. Here we go. Here we go. People see this because they stopped this. They stopped it. Let me show you. Look at this. This is what they see. We better do the same. they're setting the example. Yes, they are. Well, I thought that if you were on federal ground, you had to have a mask. Isn't that the mandate? That's the law. So she's not on federal property. If Trump's press secretary was up there not wearing one, I think they might say something. Look at this. Oh, how come they're not 6 feet apart anymore? What happened to that? Was that just bull crap? What happened to the 6 feet or 6.2 feet or 6.02 feet if you're Hispanic? 2 meters. Because Hispanics spread it a little bit fast, a little bit farther. The Amish don't play. Yeah, the best thing I saw was the Amish don't have a pandemic. They don't have television. Oh, thanks, Stanley. J.P. Pritzker, governor of Blue, Illinois. I might add he's a bit on the heavy side, not making fun of the heavy people, but being overweight is a huge risk factor in every ailment. I'm just saying. Yeah, it's like I said before. I have nothing. I've been there myself. I've been obese myself. I got nothing against people that are overweight. In fact, I don't even think it's, for the most part, people's fault. It's just the way it is with our food and with what people can afford, this, that, and the other. But these people that were double masking at the store were so obese that they're riding in cars because they can't walk around the store, and they're throwing chips and candy and cookies and ice cream in their thing while they're double masked. So what's wrong with this picture? Amish never get vaxxed. So you're saying we should get rid of the Amish? They're the reason. He's not a bet. He's 350 pounds. All right, I got to look him up. Oh! Yeah, I'd say 350 about nails it. The image I see. He's like, who's that guy in Congress? It's one of the big wigs on one of the committees. He's always, he had to have gastric bypass. He was so big. Illinois makes penicillin a state microbe? What? J.B. Pritzker signs bill that seeks to address racial disparities in healthcare. They say that the minorities are not getting vaccinated like everybody else is. They're coming after the minorities. Oh, thank you, Mike. Mike sent a update. Arizona Senate received a 4-volume report today with the results of the Arizona audit. I'm assuming that is today. AZ Senate public hearing likely to discuss the results early to mid next week. Fantastic. That's all for Rumble. Of course, it can't be anybody else. Can't put it on regular social media. Thanks a lot, Mike. I appreciate it. It's public hearing early to mid next week. Yay! About time. Well, if this early preliminary little thing is just a piece of the pie, just a little teeny sliver of the pie, wait till when that comes out. But I would hope what Biden just did. Thank you, Nadler, Twisted Clan, and John Cream. Thank you very much, Nadler. I don't trust him as far as I can throw Jerry Nadler, right? I think I just saw him recently on stage, and he was like barely able to move. It's like these people are in there until they're paraplegics almost from their own failing health, I mean. Oh, they came from one of our representatives, Mark Fincham. Very good. Thanks so much, Mike. Joe says the Amish dudes around here put in my mom's new metal roof $5,000, and they should run an Amish guy for governor or president. I'd vote for them. No, see, they got it right, Joe. They self-govern. They have it right. They don't want to get involved in what everybody else is doing. They've been there, done that, figured it out, and got out of it. I don't know what they all believe religious-wise. Don't care, but they know how to treat government right, which is we don't acknowledge it, we don't get involved in it, and we stay away from it. And they have successfully made it so the government better not get involved in their stuff because they don't sit down for it. And when the rest of us figure that out, that's when we can have true freedom. And he wants Gates for a target. Yeah, Jerry Nadler. Yeah, he was walking off the stage. I mean, he was more like just hobbling off the stage. He was bad off. You've seen Amish buggies flying Trump flags. I did have one problem with the Amish in Pennsylvania, and that is, boy, they beat the system with this. Their buggies, when they get on these little roads in Pennsylvania, Lancaster County area especially, you got to just drift behind them until they finally find an area where they can move over to let you pass, or they turn off or whatever. But it finally dawned on me one day when I'm looking at this thing, I'm like, there's no license plate on there, which is fine, really. I mean, I wish we all could get away from paying for whatever. But anyway, I was like, wait a minute, these people aren't paying anything in road taxes or anything, and they're hogging up the roads and using the same roads that we're paying to have them paved. I don't know, it just kind of bugged me. Paraplegic have a crappy life expectations. I'll bet. These are people that make themselves as helpless as paraplegics with movement and stuff by their own lifestyles and by their own mistreatment of their own bodies, not just with food and stuff like that, but with everything. Maybe that's why they like blood from little babies, because it helps them try to recover some of that so they can live through it some more. I don't know if I mentioned here before. I think I have. But not only do I want to see the med beds come out, but I'm hoping they have vet beds. Can you imagine they can make dogs live 50, 60 years? Something like that. Wouldn't that be awesome? Without problems. So I'm hoping they have vet beds as well as med beds. Don't they run a certain group out of Pennsylvania a couple years back? Didn't they run a certain group out of Pennsylvania? Who? The Amish? I don't know. If they did, I haven't been in Pennsylvania since I moved out of there in 2008. And it was the happiest thing in my life to see Pennsylvania in my rearview mirror. Not my favorite place. Mostly the weather and stuff like that. Well, there was other things too. Pennsylvania is one of those places where there's so many tiny little municipalities and stuff that if you ever have a disagreement with one of them, you have to go to court. You have to go to their little municipality, and everybody knows everybody. So you're screwed. It happened to me. Had a branch office when I was doing mortgages in Pennsylvania, and we rented this place above this woman's house so that we could call clients and stuff like that. While she had this screaming baby all day, it just screamed and cried and whatever, and you couldn't call anybody. It was too unprofessional. There wasn't enough sound barrier. It came through loud and clear. So we stayed all the way to the very last month of the lease, but we were like, we went out of here because we can't do our business here. No, you signed a year lease. So we took her to court. Well, when we got to court, I walked in, and there was the judge was there with the clerk of the court, and they're sort of like just chumming around, talking, whatever. And they said, "Okay, you're Mr. Hopkins. All right, you're this case. All right, just go sit down or whatever." And as that happened, the defendant walked in, the person that lived there. And the judge was like, "Hey, Mabel, how are you?" I was like, "I'm screwed." And I was. That's another thing, Robert. The politics there was awful. Worse now with Wolf for governor. I don't know who Wolf is, but you always had these. If you got Republicans in there, they were rhinos. The senators. It was one of those places where, unfortunately, you had Pittsburgh on one side, Philadelphia on the other. And with what we know what's happening with elections, they always got just enough to control everything. It's like I always say, we're always one vote short. So I didn't like the politics there. They taxed you to death for schools, at least where I was. Berks County. I used to sing a song, Berks County, blow your head smooth off. Berks County, blow it smooth off. Anyway. I just said my last name, Rich. Be careful. Oh, I don't care if people know my last name. They should. People, I'm sure, know it. There are probably a few Black Americans alive today who were part of I always get that Tuskegee experiments. I don't know why I can't pronounce that. Obviously, the few who actually received penicillin rather than placebo, of course. Yeah, we have a lovely setup government. It was all, I'm sure, approved by the CDC, which it should be. But it was the weather was miserable. It was just, I mean, it was Tuskegee. Tuskegee. I don't know. Tuskegee. Where's the K come from? Oh, Tuskegee. Thanks, Tuskegee. I don't know why I have a problem with that word, but I do. Sell our rights back to us through licensing. Fishing, yes, fishing, driving license, sell things from a store, from a truck. We have to pay to do a legal thing. Exactly back for more. That's why here, when there was this place up the street, fantastic pizza place, unbelievably. Mom and pop, walking in there, they know your name after a while. You know their name. Very friendly, very nice, excellent food. They refused the tyrannical mask mandate. And they didn't make any customers wear anything. People came in, nobody had anything on unless they wanted to. Some people that came in for takeout, they would wear something. Everybody else did not. People that went there, I never saw anybody that went there did not. All of a sudden, one day, bam, they're closed. Our liquor license was taken, which means they had to close because they sell liquor because of, you know what, going against certain things. And they were closed for almost a month. To do something legal. Hello, Dan. God bless you too. Thank you. Tuskegee was, I said it right. Tuskegee. Should have left it alone. Tuskegee was a crime against humanity, just like we see now. Amen. Hello, Pugsley. God bless you too. Mortgages were only to be for 4 years by law, so the lenders read the laws. They can only hold them for loan for 4 years. Criminal. You know what's really criminal is simple interest is bad enough, but compounding interest. I believe compounding interest throughout history, people that did it, it was the death penalty. That's how bad it is. That's why, you know, interest rates are super low now because nobody can afford anything else. And they're not going to skyrocket back up. By the way, did you hear Janet Yellen, the former head of the Fed, who's now the Treasury Secretary? You don't think they're in cahoots a little bit? The independent Fed is now the head of the Treasury. She said the United States is going to default in October on the debt. Now, I don't know if she means unless they raise the debt ceiling. I didn't hear it, but I say bring it, default on it. They pay no taxes and do not accept the stimulus. Who's that? Tuskegee. Thanks, Dank. Now we have to pay the bank to hold our money. Yeah, it's just, it's such a criminal thing. They create the money out of literally, they don't even print it anymore. It's just digital. Type of a computer. You got $100,000. Oh, you want $150,000 for a mortgage? Okay. Who are you selling it to? Okay. Well, let's just say just make it easy. There's no real estate people involved. There's no lawyers involved. There's not even a title company involved. You're just doing one person to another. And the bank says, okay, we'll give you the money. So they take $150,000, they put it into the bank account of the person you're buying the house from. You now owe the bank $150,000. And under normal interest rates, that means you owe probably $500,000 over 30 years. So the person that got the $150,000, they do whatever they want to it. That gets circulated, fine. So $150,000 is created. You have to pay $500,000 over the life of the loan. Where does that extra money come from? It doesn't come from anywhere. So that's why people have to default. And you have to keep going back to the bank to get more. This is what started World War II. Little game they played with Germany and France and England and who's paying who. It was just one big circle jerk of money going back and forth. That's all it was. And then when Germany couldn't pay anymore, all of a sudden we have World War II. What an amazing thing. Paraplegic Bear. How the F is a 30-year mortgage at 4% and end up being you borrow $100,000, pay back $200,000. I thought 4% of $100,000 is $4,000. No double. Let's get an amortization calculator here, because it's compounded interest, not simple. And even the simple interest would be less than that because as you pay it down, it's less interest you owe. Calculate refinance mortgage. Let's see if this gives us mortgage calculator. Home price, $100,000. Primary residence, calculate. Come on up with it. Wait a minute. What I put in? I put $1 million. Sorry. 100, 1, 2, 3. 50,000. This thing, if you stop typing for a second, it accepts your value. Weird. Down payment, 0. 30-year term. Our interest rate, 2.490. The home will cost you $513 a month. Property tax in 60. The base is $395. So you take $395 for 360 months. $395 times 360 months. This is just towards the principal. I mean, this is what you're going to pay. You're going to pay $142,200 for that $100,000 house. That's at 2.49% interest. So $42,200 is not created. And that's also where you're going to get that $60 property taxes, which is the biggest thing that I hate about government. You can pay your house, you can pay the $142,000, you made your 30-year payments. But then something happens, you get sick or whatever, you miss your tax payment. They come and take your house and sell it for the taxes you owe. So you never own a thing. So, and who gets it? It eventually all goes through another bank. Because what's going to happen is, if the government gets it, they'll sell it. And then someone needs to buy it, and they'll go through a bank. It's just over and over. The wheel goes round and round, and the banks keep getting richer. But we did it. We turned it over to a government who gives us a fake bank and allows everything that's happening to us, including not simple interest. You know, it's anti-biblical to charge usury to the brethren, to your brothers and sisters, to your fellow country people. That's interest. Matthew got me too. I don't understand if people can afford $80,000 and $100,000 cars and trucks. You got me. I see it too. When I went to see if the dealership could do something with my car before I sold it, I was looking at the prices of things like, there's nothing special about this car. Why is it $65,000? You know, it was just, there was nothing special about the car. It was just a car. It wasn't a sports car. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't an SUV. It was just a car. That's right, Kerry. We're always paying restitution till we die. Where in PA did I live? Both my folks are from Pittsburgh, Lawrenceville area. And spent summers on Uncle's farm. I was in a little town called Womelsdorf, which is between Reading and Harrisburg. Or is it Reading in York? Yeah, Reading and Harrisburg. It's right in between the two. It's to the east, just to the east of Lancaster County. In fact, where I lived, my house, I could look at the back. There was a river that ran behind my house. That river, on my neighbor to my left, was the dividing line between the county I was in, which was Berks County, and then Lancaster County. They come to a point, and they actually came to a point right behind my house. So closer to Reading than anything else. Carrie Rich, this is hell. I'm almost convinced. You know, Carrie, I have contemplated people will have a problem with it, but I'll say it anyway. I've talked about it before. I've contemplated that what if this is like the Matrix? We're all plugged in, we don't even realize it, and we're going through a simulation. And what if that simulation is our fiery trials? You know what I mean? To teach us to love one another and all that. What if it's the lake of fire? What if this is how we're made right? What if we're part of the people that fell? I've contemplated that. I'm not saying it's true, but your mom is from Berks County. Berks County! Where current temperature, 18 degrees. It's a 2-syllable word in Berks County, temperature. There's a lot of words that are weird there. It's the Pennsylvania Dutch. I've lived in Arizona since 2008. How the heck did I get a B paraplegic in a simulation thing? I got screwed. Maybe you wanted to experience that. What if you were given the choice? And it might not seem like it makes sense now, but it does later when you wake up. The thing that gets me is, I've told you guys before, I'm really into listening to these near-death experiences that people have, and the things that are in common with all of them. And one thing with people that remember anyway is they say it all makes sense. Everything makes sense. Like here you wonder, why does this happen? Why do people go through this? Why do people suffer this? And then once they're on the other side, like, oh, I get it. But there's one, I actually saved it. Maybe I'll share it on here one day. It was one of the best I've heard that encapsulates the whole thing. And she said, one of the questions she asked was, what is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of us going through this or whatever? And she said she was told, everything else you're going to remember, but I'm going to tell you what it is, but you're not going to remember this part. And she couldn't. But she was told. And she said it was only 3 or 4 sentences, and it made total sense to her. But she can't remember the details of that. And I said I love skateboarding, and I was going fast in the car, and is that snow or ice? She said, God gave me 4 weeks for good. Weeks for good. You were only given 4 weeks to live? So how do you type on here? Or do you have full function of your fingers, hands? Just curious. Howard County, Indiana, just outside of Kokomo. These are the most 4-syllable words. You're making the oxygen deprived brains hurt. For those of you who have done mushrooms, magic mushrooms, you can understand probably more what I'm talking about than others. We have a programming, I can't explain it. There's a programming that is on all of us. And I think before we are 7 years old or so, none of that affects us. Yeah, we learn certain things. We learn that we live on a spinning ball. But I don't think we really make judgments on anything before roughly the age of 7. Some people younger, some people older. That's when we start to become more individualistic and see things a little differently and form opinions about things. And I think that's when the programming starts to really cement in. And mushrooms get rid of that programming, a lot of it. You can see things like you used to see when you were 7 years old, if you get my drift. It's hard to explain without if you haven't been there, but you realize that you've been seeing things a little bit wrong, maybe a lot wrong, but you've been driven down a path to see things a certain way, and this takes that away. So the programming is ineffective, and so you can see it without all the filters. That's why they don't want anybody to do it. That's why they came out with LSD. It's an artificial version of it. It doesn't give you the same thing. Armour says, I have it, never again. I would never, yes, only do shrooms where they're legal. For real. They are legal in certain places. Mrs. Mark says, I love the fact that as believers we have eternal life. We are just in a small part of that experience here. We are eternal beings. It's a beautiful thought. Keeps things in perspective. Yeah, this is going to be I think this is going to be like that. Shrooms cause nausea. They can. When I first did them, I was told to do it on an empty stomach and to drink peppermint tea. And that's what I did at first. And one time I had a little bit of stomach upset, just a little. And I had some peppermint tea and I was fine. Since then, I haven't needed it. I don't like peppermint tea to start with. But, you know, I'd rather have peppermint tea than stomach upset. I'd rather have the flu 500 days in a row than 3 days of stomach upset. I don't like stomach upset. But anyway, I got to the point where it didn't bother me anymore. And I think that the reason that it bothered me was the form that it was in. The first few times I did it, it was in a solution. I guess it's alcohol. It's like dissolved in alcohol. Whereas since then, it's been nothing but the plant itself, ground up, put in capsules, or just eat it. To me, it tastes like stale popcorn, for what it's worth. You just have to know how much to do, how much not to do. The thing is, the first time you do it, at least, you shouldn't do a lot, and you should have somebody with you who is a good sensei, so to speak, or a good leader who will gladly, because it's about a 4-hour experience, gladly not even say a word during the 4 hours, if that's what you want, or interact with you as much as you want, or back and forth. You need someone like that, and who has gone through it themselves. You're not going to lose your mind. You're not going to go nuts. I don't know what LSD does. Maybe you would on that, but you won't with this. You're not going to OD on it. But you should, the first time or two, you should have someone who's experienced with it to help guide you. That's the word I'm looking for, a guide. Anyway, what I've learned is, John, I'll get to the microdosing thoughts. In a minute. What I learned was, if you set an intention beforehand, it's like God will give you that intention. I don't know how it works, but the craziest thing will happen and you will get that intention. Meaning, like, I'll give you the most dramatic I ever had with it. I had a lot of trauma from previous relationships that didn't work out, ex-wives, things like that. And I knew I had that buried in me. And so I wanted to resolve it. So I went into that experience hoping to get that out of it. And you don't have to force anything. That was the intention when I took it. I was having a normal conversation with people, and this is when somehow it's like God orchestrates it and triggers exactly what you need. Someone said something. It was a child, actually, who happened to come by and cracked me up. It was just the funniest thing they said. And I started laughing. Well, that laughter triggered emotions in me. And I went from laughing to just crying. I mean, really crying. And for the next hour and a half, I mentally worked through all that trauma. And I was to the point where 2 people had to actually help me off the ground. I was so emotionally drained after it. But when it was over, and since then, I don't have that issue anymore. It's gone. It was resolved. I worked it out. Now, there was still time after that where I had to think everything I worked through in my head, but it resolved it totally out of my system. And I've gone in wanting to have a good time, and that's what I end up out of it. Now, every now and then you might start to steer in a direction you don't want to go in, but you can control that and get yourself out of it, or you can let yourself roll into that. Being out in nature is a humongous positive with it. Humongous. Rob says you don't want to take too much and have a bad trip. What I have found is I guess you could take too much of anything, but what I have found is once you understand the experience, what you're going to get out of it in advance, and things like that, you can do a heck of a lot of it. And you're not going to you learn. It's like anything else. You learn. It's like riding a bicycle. All of a sudden, you know how to not fall off. You know how not to lose your balance. It's like you learn how to lose your balance when you're on it. I wouldn't even do higher doses until I got to that point, and I never did. So I think I've always had a good guide. To me, like I keep saying, it is 4 years of a really good therapist, and there aren't many. There aren't many fair therapists, in my opinion. Most of them stink. But having 4 years of a really good therapist work with you, you can get in 4 hours. You really can. You can work through all that trauma in 4 hours. Now, you might have to have 2 4-hour sessions or whatever and work through the same trauma. But even if you're like, what is the meaning of this? Or what is the meaning of that? And you sort of set that intention beforehand, you'll get an answer. And it could be the craziest thing that trips it. I remember Michael was with me once. We were outside. We were at a park in Arizona. And the colors are fantastic. You'll see colors you never saw before. They're there. You just stop learning to see them when you were about 7 years old. Like I said, I've said it before. The first time it happened to me, I was like, oh, I remember when I was a kid, I used to see this way. And especially perspective and how things in the distance move slower. I always miss the word up on here. Anyway, it's a perspective thing. You forget that you're actually seeing that every day, and you don't notice it anymore. You'll notice it again, and it's fantastic. Anyway, microdosing, I would have to talk to somebody I know who has done it a lot. I've done it once or twice, and I've done it by accident, actually. Your friend got you, John, into microdosing. Stopped after a week, but I definitely felt more clear. It was crazy. Yeah, you know what's... yeah, you got it, OKB. Only you can heal yourself, and you can mentally heal yourself with that. And that's what they don't want. That's why it's illegal. I'm serious. That is why it's illegal. People have a big fear of it. You don't have to fear it. And they think you're going to lose your mind. I had all those fears too, because I believed the propaganda around it. It's just the opposite. It's wonderful. And God has it here on the earth for a reason. But I haven't, one time, I mean, remember I told you sometimes it was in a capsule. I thought I was taking, what did I think I was taking? Beetroot? I don't know what I thought I was taking, but I took one, swallowed it. Something I would normally take going before I go to the gym, pre-workout. I get to the gym and I start looking around. I'm like, why does everything have a purple haze to it? Like a little bit of a purple tint. So I didn't know what the heck was going on with me, because I didn't think I took anything psychedelic. So I actually called Michael. I said, hey, Michael. I said, just to let you know, I'm at the gym here. I'm going to text you when I'm done. If I don't text you in the next hour, come looking for me, because something's weird happening to me. I'm seeing purple. And as soon as I said that, before he even answered, I was like, I bet you I accidentally microdosed. And he said, do you think you microdosed? And I was like, yeah, that is what happened. So I've done that twice. You'd think I would have learned the first time. But purple's a good color, by the way. That means you're in touch with God. Let's see. You should only microdose with an accurate source. The 28-piece, 28-gram chocolate bar is perfect. You can cut one piece into 10 pieces, and each will be 1/10 of a gram. Oh, that's good. I didn't even know about the chocolate bar. Where are you, Paraplegic Bear? Where that you can get that? So you get a totally different outlook on life. You realize when you're on it, especially, you've been programmed, because all of a sudden you're thinking clearer. You're not thinking with, and this isn't it really. I don't know how else to put it. There's not a Republican tent on your thoughts, or a Democrat or a Libertarian. There's not a man-made, forced, this is the way you think if you're this. That goes away, which is programming, the biases, the conditioning. That goes away. Maybe not the first time or two or three that you do it, but you learn. Like I said, you do. But to me, it's amazing. Of course, I can only do it when I go to Colorado, because that's where it's legal. No, country boy, your father is correct. That's why they used to say Coke adds life, because it was a stimulant. Dukes. This could be a great group to score anything you want. That's the thing too. Allowing government to tell you what you can and can't ingest in your body. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. You can get anything you want. Put some energy behind it. I'm not saying break the law. Don't break the law. Go by CDC guidelines too while you're at it. Do not break the law. But you can get anything you want. All you have to do is have a little green and have a little energy put behind trying to get it. But you also are less judgmental about others. I think it was shrooms that got me over this hatred of seeing people wearing masks. And it made me realize those are the people really asleep that we need to help the most. So my programming was taken away. And then I saw it more like in a godlike thing of, we need to help these people type of deal. But they don't want you in that mood. They want you divided. Weston, I couldn't have said it better in my life. I probably never said it before, but always follow CDC guidelines. Always. XRP, it's coming. The mushroom movement is getting rolling. It's becoming legal in more places, and more places are trying to get legislation through. Of course, you know what the government does, like they did here. We finally got marijuana legalized here. I don't smoke pot. I don't. I mean, there was one time when I did to try to help with pain. That was it. But I wanted to have that right to do it. And anybody else should have the right for whatever reason they want to put in their body. So we finally got it legalized, or what's the word? Yeah, legalized. But there's a 17% tax surcharge beside the regular 10% sales tax here in Arizona, roughly, sometimes a little less, depending on what municipality you're in. Where we live in one of those places here where you might pay 8.25% on this corner, go across the street, you pay 10% sales tax. Just the way it is. So they add an extra 17% on top. Because I was like, what are they going to do now? Because what they did first was they made it medical marijuana. What did that mean? Oh, that just meant that you had to go to a doctor who follows CDC guidelines. They ask you what's wrong with you. Do you have any of these conditions? And even if you didn't, unless you're a total dummy, you're going to say, yeah, I have that one. Okay, you can get medical marijuana. You have to pay $125 to a doctor for him to sign off. Then you send another $125 into the state. Then in a couple of weeks, they send you a license so that you can go to a dispensary. Only there are dispensaries that they approve because they're paying the fees too. Can you go get it? So when they finally came up and it passed this last time to legalize it fully, it was like, how are they going to make their money? I'd be damned. It wasn't hard for them to figure out a way. It's like I said, in Maryland, the real state motto is, if you can dream it, we can tax it. Same thing with this. 17% tax, or you don't have to pay that 17% if you still get your license and pay the state $125. It's a rig. Everything's rigged against you. Somebody said they did was it peyote? There is a what's it called? What's that stuff called? It lasts for 3 days. And you end up throwing up and stuff like that. I don't think that's what would stop me. But I've thought about doing this. You have to go to where that's legal. It's in South America. There's a place. And they have professional gurus, professional guides to help you. It's not DMT. That's it. I thought it was ayahuasca. Yeah, that's it. Very good, Bear. Yes, you're sick for 3 days. No, I don't know if you're sick for 3. You're sick at first, but the whole experience lasts 3 days. But they're like, it changes your life permanently for the better. Ayahuasca. But I've thought about, actually, me and a couple others have thought about doing that sometime. Is it me, or did someone make white refined sugar addictive on purpose? Just the thought. I don't think, I think sweetness is addictive. The white refined is on purpose because that's what, same thing with white refined bread. They've taken out other things in it, which makes it really dangerous for you. It's like they tell you to only eat egg whites. Don't eat the yolk because it's got cholesterol, which is what your body needs. No matter what you start. I'm not a doctor. I'm a meteorologist. Go by CDC and doctors' guidelines. But whatever you starve your body of, it will hoard. it will cling on to. That's why they wanted you on low fat everything. You don't want to eat fat. Whenever you get a little bit in there, your body's going to hoard it because it needs it. It's not going to use it for fuel. It's going to use it for future fuel. It's going to store it because it doesn't get fat very often. The higher the fat that you eat, chances are the more fat you're going to lose. Chances are. You have to do good with carbs too. But they've made all this stuff so that you cycle through the system. White refined sugar is cheap. That's number one. Not too cheap. If it was a little bit cheaper, they wouldn't have needed to come up with high fructose corn syrup. That's a different story we've talked about. But white refined sugar, they strip everything out except for the sweet part, the sugar. They dump that into stuff so that you drink it. It's addictive, of course. But because it's all refined and there's no fibers with it, nothing, it's bam, like that, your blood sugar spikes like crazy. You end up getting, a lot of people end up getting type 2 diabetes from it. And if you continue, if you don't get type 2, you might get type 3 diabetes, which is Alzheimer's disease. So what happens is, then you get hooked on the medical system where, man, can I even say this? I'll circle back to it like Saki does. You get hooked on insulin because you need insulin every day, right? Several times a day, or other pills or whatever they give you, metformin. And so then you're in that cycle. And so they're treating the symptoms. Meanwhile, they're not telling you to stop eating sugar. Yeah, they do, but it's like, whatever. Make sure it's low fat. But it's like the egg. If you don't eat yolks and all you do is eat egg whites, you get a deficiency, a pretty severe deficiency. I can't even remember what it is. But there's something in the yolk that there's something in the white that without the yolk, it starts to destroy you. You have to have both. God knew what he did when he put the yolk and the white part together. Now, I'm not saying you have to eat, you can eat a dozen eggs and just have one yolk. That's okay. Just don't eat a bunch of, like they have these egg whites in the carton, just the whites. It's good for cholesterol. Bull crap. Anyway, it's all a scam. What did I say I was going to circle back to? That's what Saki does. She forgets. She never comes back to it. But yeah, sugar wasn't quite addictive enough. That's why they came up with high fructose corn syrup. It is. That's why they developed it. They wanted a more addictive sweetener and cheaper. High fructose corn syrup. There you have it. Japanese scientists developed it, if I remember correctly. Matthew says, I'm afraid of ayahuasca and DMT because they would throw me into a prison for about 10,000 years. Yeah, wasn't that it? So they made a portion of the community obese and unhealthy on purpose. That's confirmation of what old timers told me. They were more healthy when people grew their own foods. Yes, and people don't have the ability to strip out stuff from their foods. Yes, country boy. It's all on purpose. Yes, and the FDA, they approved it all. Other countries, you can't get high fructose corn syrup. Their governments banned it from the people. Go down to the Bahamas. Try to get a regular Coke. You can't get it. Go to Mexico. Here they have Mexican Cokes, we call them. It's sugar. It's not high fructose corn syrup. It's still bad for you, but it's not as bad as high fructose corn syrup. They won't allow it there. Well, I don't know if Mexico will allow it, but they don't allow it in their Coke. Yeah, Streptococcus mutans is the bacteria that decays teeth. I bet it's in lots of candy. A simple antibiotic can kill Streptococcus mutans. Dentists love bacteria. And they love fluoride. Fluoride softens your enamel. Doesn't harden it. Well, go by whatever. Go by your dentist. I'm not a dentist. I'm a meteorologist. Yes, cane sugar is way better. Yes. This wasn't done by accident. That's why it's Food and Drug Administration. One leads to the other. Bad food, drugs. Drugs, money. It's all about money. This country, you know, one of the proofs that we are actually one of the tribes of Israel, and in fact, one of the two tribes of Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, is Jacob, right? Israel. Jacob, he gave the double portion to Ephraim and Manasseh. He crossed the hands and blessed them. Let my name be on them. So his traits transferred to them. Well, let's look at Jacob's traits. He was very subtle and deceiving. Remember what he did? He got the what was it? The birthright with the porridge, with the stew, with Ishmael. And then later on, he connived with his mother. Remember, to get the blessing from Jacob. No, to get the blessing from Isaac. He puts skins of long hair because his brother had long hair, and he put the smell of the goats on him or whatever because his father was blind, he couldn't see. So he thought he was blessing Ishmael instead of Isaac. He's a deceiver. He's a con artist. That's what Americans are. We're con artists. Look at advertising. How many people have seen Liberty, Liberty Mutual, whatever, Liberty, 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 Liberty Mutual commercials? Only pay for what you need, right? You ever read the fine print at the bottom? You pay for it all. So if you didn't happen to need theft insurance, at the end of your period, they'll refund you back, or they'll discount it actually off of your next policy. You pay for it. It's deceiving. We deceive with everything. Everything. Look at advertising. It's not just used car salesmen. Look at the CDC. I mean, not the CDC. Look at the medical field. Oh, I can't get into too much stuff. Esau, yes, I'm sorry, Esau. Thank you. Bowl of lentils, yes. Fluoride. They put fluoride in our water to supposedly, we have more dental issues in this country than any other country. We fluoridate the water. And that's not because we're eating more sugar. Look up what fluoride really does to your teeth. Forget about what it does to your brain and everything else. Look what it does to your teeth. You can't get it from mainstream. Try to find, go to the drugstore or the grocery store. And if it's not an all-natural toothpaste, find another toothpaste that doesn't have fluoride in it. Not only will it have fluoride, but they brag about it with fluoride, with stannous fluoride. Yes, makes you docile. And you know what else it does, Rob? It helps to calcify your pineal gland, which is what mushrooms help to undo. Someone was talking about DMT. DMT is produced by mushrooms. It's not a direct, I mean, you can actually take DMT, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would never do it myself. I know somebody who wants to, but I wouldn't do it. Oh, sorry. Charlie just had another bed fit here. He tears his bed up. I don't know why he does that. Wheel of beef. Municipal county water systems typically must adjust fluoride in the water to maintain a fluoride concentration between 0.5 and 0.9 milligrams per liter. That's a lot, actually. Tell me how Esau, a good hunter of meat, needed his gardener brother Jacob for a bowl of soup. Really? I've asked about that. No one explains. You know what? I have wondered actually if the story was metaphorical and it was really something else. But supposedly he was exhausted after being out. But I guess he was too exhausted to he caught something. Remember, he actually got venison. Was that what it was? But with that, you don't just eat it. You have to drain the blood. You have to get rid of the guts, and you have to split it open and do all that stuff. I don't know. Dukes, you recommend DMT once to anyone? It's nice. How do you compare it to mushrooms? You just killed Nimrod. In this confirmation that the USDA and the government paying farmers to destroy crops and cattle. In fact, Billy Boy wants us to eat impossible meats. Billy Boy wants us. I don't understand that last part. Billy Boy wants us to eat impossible meats. The USDA, since the Reagan administration, has been screwing us over. Pugsley, yep. Fluoride is a deadly nerve toxin. Unless your dentist approves it. Don't forget that. You need some mushrooms. You eat a lot of pizza. I actually don't like regular mushrooms. I don't like the texture. Christendom Defender says, are you enjoying the show? What show is that? Is it my show, or are you talking about, in general, the show? I've got a toothpaste that I get off Amazon. It's a 5-pack. I just got it, so I'm going to show you what it is. It lasts me about a year. It's called Himalaya Botanique Complete Care Toothpaste. Simply cinnamon. I didn't like the taste at first, but I love it now. Plaque reducer for brighter teeth and fresh breath. It's all natural. That's why I got it. That's it right there. Himalaya Boutique. It's really good. But as you're a kid, you're drinking it. When I was growing up, there was no bottled water or anything. I guess there was, but nobody. I remember when I first saw bottled water, like, who the hell is going to pay $1 for a bottle of water? Boy, I was wrong. I was never more wrong about anything than people buying bottled water. And that's all I buy now, too, because I don't want to buy fluoridated, chlorinated water. Anyway, fluorine was in the water. I grew up in Baltimore. It was in the water supply. Then you go to the dentist, and they wash your teeth with fluoride. They actually paint it on. Then they give you fluoride toothpaste. Someone said they didn't use... Yes. Someone said they haven't used fluoride in 5 years. I don't think I've had fluoride since... maybe 1998, somewhere in there. Maybe that's why I woke up a few years later. Backwards says table salt equals all the minerals taken out on purpose to eat stomach lining minerals. The acidify the salt. Don't forget though, if you get it in the little packets at fast food, they've added minerals like aluminum, sodium silicoaluminate, drying agent. Because we know it's a drying agent, it's okay. Minerals deacidify the salt. Natural salt is the most is in most things that are good for you. FDA version, like everything they give you. Yep, exactly. Himalayan salt, pink salt. I've got a 10-pound bag of it, which is a lot for me. And anyway, KFC chicken products in Russia was already approved for 3D printed chicken nuggets, if I remember right. You know what? Every now and then, country boy, I eat so well, but every now and then I will trash it up. And what I mean by that is one of the things is chicken nuggets. Now, I haven't done this in the last year, maybe twice. I ate chicken nuggets, maybe. But the last time I did, I felt so sick afterwards. Like, why do I ever do this? But there's something about it every now and then. It's like, oh, I'd love to have some chicken nuggets. I will not, though, under any circumstances, ever again, ever eat any meat, beef, I mean, from McDonald's. Ever. Yeah, they tell you to cut out the salt. Let me show you something here if I can grab it. Do I have it up here? Pardon me a moment. Oh, can I reach it? I can't reach it. Anyway, I've got a bottle of salts, electrolyte salts. It's sodium and potassium. It's salt. I actually take 2 or 3 capsules of that in a 2-hour time period when I go to work out. I take one about an hour before, one as soon as I start, and then about midway through, I take another one, a third one. And I can just hear the doctors, oh my God, you're going to kill yourself with the salt. It's going to give you high blood pressure. Oh, really? Take my blood pressure. Oh, it's 104/65. Oh, well, maybe I need more salt. It's like, I think I told you guys, I got to, just in case something happens, because I've had 2 heart attacks in the past, I have a cardiologist set up at the VA. If you don't have them set up, you don't see them within a year, you lose it. It takes you a year to get somebody again. So I just go with the flow. So I go there and she goes, let me get this right. You don't have, she goes, you're not taking your blood pressure medicine. I was like, no, because I have low blood pressure to start with. So why should I take something to lower it even more? Well, you've had heart attacks and you've got stents. And it's like, well, when I believed that crap and took it, I almost died. I literally almost died. They had to call 911 because my blood pressure dropped so low they couldn't even get a reading. So I told her that, oh, okay. But your cholesterol. I said, no, it's not cholesterol. I said, my cholesterol is 150. Next. So at the end of the conversation, she was like, oh, and I got my echocardiogram, and she's like, by some miracle, your heart function is back to 50%, which is normal heart function if you've never had heart attacks. And she goes, by some miracle, you've got your function back to 50%, because it was as low as 37 to 40 after my first heart attack. After my second heart attack, it wasn't as bad. It was 45 or whatever, and now it's back to I never had anything. But she's going through this whole thing. So you don't have any blood pressure issues. Your cholesterol's okay. Your heart, you got a miracle, and your heart function came back, but you're not on any medication. That scares me. It's like, there it is, right in front of your face. They can't think out of the box. They don't want them thinking out of the box. They need mushrooms. That's exactly right, Dub. Thanks, I appreciate that. Sorry to hear that. Glad you look fit. McDonald's has FDA approved slime cream. Yeah, they have that red slime, and they said it's got human. They had traces of humans in it. Why would you eat that? And they haven't stopped them. Yeah, they have red slime. Well, what's the red slime? Well, some of it tested with human meat in it. Got gnats in here again. My symptoms were not typical, Corey. So I do like to talk about my symptoms every now and then because they weren't normal. Um, because I had medical training before, I put things together, and so I knew to go to the hospital. Even when everybody around me was like, "No, you're not having a heart attack because it's not this." And I was like, "No, I'm having a heart attack," and I was right. I was at the gym the first time, and it takes a lot for me to sweat unless I'm sitting here. I mean, I sweat here, of course, if I'm in 95-degree weather doing this right here. But overall, my whole body, I don't generally sweat at all. And I went for just a very light workout because I hadn't been going in a while. So I went very light, wasn't there long at all. And at the end of it, I just didn't feel right. And I had pain in my back, middle part of my back. And when I'm driving home, a little bit in the jaw and a little bit like in the clavicle area, but it was mostly in my back. But I sort of felt clammy a little bit. That was one. And I still wouldn't have put it together except for the pain in my back. And because I've had back issues, Michael was there. And I would have them do is, hey, push on this part of my back, it'll crack, it'll feel better. So he went to push on, he goes, man, you are just drenched in sweat. And as soon as you said that, I said, I'm having a heart attack. He was like, no, you're not. You just came from the gym and said, I don't sweat like that. And my shirt was drenched. And I said, I'm having a heart attack. So they came and did an EKG. Yeah, you're having a heart attack. And the rest is history. So the second heart attack was pretty much the same thing. I didn't have sweats at all, but it was pain in the middle of the back, right behind my heart. But it was all back pain, 100% back pain. And went to the hospital, and the hospital was like, oh, it's back pain. Go have a seat. I said, no, I've had heart attacks before. I have had a heart attack before. This is the symptom I have. Oh, okay. Then they took me back. They did the blood test. Yes, you're having a heart attack. See? So it doesn't have to be the typical. McEwen's sausage McMuffin cheese. Oh, that's awesome. A McHuman. What happened to Rob Skiba? I think someone said it last time, but it went right out of my head. Yeah, the second time, Rich Spellman, I was taking regular aspirin a day. The second time I knew. So I don't know what I took. I took 3 or 4 of the 81 milligrams. So when the paramedics came, they said, how many did you take? And I told them. They took like 5 more and shoved them in my face, the chewable baby ones. So I was like, oh, you can really deal with it. I don't even take that anymore. I don't even take baby aspirin anymore. Or for a while I was taking the 325. I'm like, why am I screwing around with the 81 if you really need more than that to stop a clot? Oh, thank you, Corey. Yeah, I'm fine. It's like I told my brother. If my brother had a heart attack, it's with me. It's calcium. I know exactly. My issue was calcium deposits. No history of heart disease in my family. Nothing. But my brother had a heart attack too, and I told him. I said the heart attack isn't the bad part. It's the after. It's the surviving it. What you have to go through after it. And he was like, you know what? You're right. The heart attack was nothing. It's the crap you have to go through after it. Feel the cardiovascular exercise is good. Thoughts can overpower the trash we put in our bodies. Thoughts are a big deal. Absolutely. People said I was sick with Corona for a week, quote unquote. My sister took care of me like a child. Of course, she never got it. Super sister. Yeah, isn't it something how God protects the caretakers? That has been something through history that's been amazing. God protects the caretakers in most cases. Tuesday is Soylent Green Day. Oh. We only got 176 people, which isn't bad for how many? Who's on Mr. Thrive and Survive? Can you tell me how many people are there? We're almost at the 3-hour mark. I'm going to end at the 3-hour mark. 5 more minutes. You would never trust Bear. Yeah, they could. Yeah, unless the CDC says trust them, of course. Yeah, I had Bear aspirin for a while, and I was like, I had a feeling about it. I was like, no, I'm going to go out and get some generic, and I did. You know what? I feel JMC says get a water filter system, Berkey, $300, and water bottle filters for $25. I couldn't agree more. I feel so good knowing I have that Berkey water filter because it's thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons from any source. You just pour it in there and you got good water. John, well, thank you very much. You listened to the whole show. 128. Thank you, Whale of Beef. So, still more on Thrive and Survive by about 2-to-1 ratio. We got to get people to start coming on the other one. There's 173 total between the two channels. The only disadvantage is you guys can only see what's in your stream. What's in your chat. You can't see what's in the other. Again, did you all get notifications tonight that I was coming on? Burger McDonald's don't taste like burger. Yeah, I agree. You know what? I used to get sick from Burger King beef, and there's something about the taste or whatever. And then I don't know, about 8 months ago, a year ago, for whatever reason, I think nothing was close except for a Burger King. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll deal with the sickness afterward. The burger tasted much better, and I didn't get sick afterwards. And I was like, oh man, what did they do? Nikki, thank you. Anna too. Johnny, oh good. Pete, you didn't. Rich didn't. Carbide got notified. Well, at least some people got notified this time. Luke Bear only got Thrive and Survive. Isn't YouTube something? Duke says, you see how much food my grocery store throws away every day. They just don't sell much because of the population here. Duke's, and that's not just there. That's everywhere. The first job I had at any place retail like that was a sort of like a Dunkin' Donuts, except it was a local one. It was called Mr. Donut in Baltimore. And I was a porter. I just cleaned the floors and stuff like that. The food they threw out every day was unbelievable. I was like, and we were in an extremely poor neighborhood. I was like, man, there's people could use this. Even though it's crappy donuts, there's people could use it. But I get it. It's like if they start, once it's 2 days old or a day old, whatever it was, and they threw it away, if they gave it to people all the time, nobody would ever buy it. So I see the deal. But they could actually take it to another neighborhood 10 miles away or something. Posey says, if they said on the news the Earth was the back of a giant turtle, people would believe it. But tell them we have real evidence the Earth is flat and stationary, and they will look at you cross-eyed. Yep, that's because they've been programmed just like they are to believe the giant turtle. Works both ways, doesn't it, Pugsley? Thank you, Michelle. 129. And it says I worked in a grocery deli and didn't need to buy food for the 6 months I worked there. Oh, that would be awesome. And to work in a deli and get that food. I love deli meats. Meats and the produce, thousands of dollars worth a day in the dumpster. Allegedly. That's how the Manson family did dumpster diving to get friends. You have a well with the Kinetics filter, which was 5K. I know, silly. Then the sink has reverse osmosis in the fridge. There's a ceramic filter. That water's the best tasting water. You got it locked in there, Carbide. Good for you. Yeah, a lot of decent food is wasted. And we're in trouble because the government convinced all the farmers in the United States to go mega farming in the 1980s. And they take one crop and they grow it every year on 100% of the land over and over and over. And so there's no more minerals in the ground. And it's just, and again, it's for money. And because there's no more minerals in the ground, people get sick easier and then they need medicine. The cycle is the same. Backwards world. Only at work, but I got back in. I was on my way home. Took today off. I only get Thrive reminder to hit the bell again on this channel. So hit the bell again. Yeah, that's a good idea. I've done it with other channels, and then all of a sudden I get notified. I undo the bell, then redo it again. Bell must be out of order, Robert. Country boy did a little Beverly Hillbillies, huh? Caught a lean raccoon on your trap line, butchered it, ran it with bacon meat, made the best burgers, black pepper and salt were seasoned. Sounds good, actually. We look at the outside, and it's like I see raccoons the same as probably most people see. I mean, I see squirrels the way most people probably see raccoons. You work at the Port of Baltimore. How are things coming in there, Backwards World? You know what I miss about Baltimore? The thing I miss the most about Baltimore is the food there. Oh my God, there's no place better in the world than Baltimore food. I mean, everything is the best there. You find the best sub shops. You find the best Italian food. You go to Little Italy downtown. You find the best seafood. But you also pay $7 to go through the tunnel that used to be 25 cents. And once you paid the 20, this is the slippery slope thing that my son Zach still doesn't believe necessarily exists. I keep giving him examples. The Baltimore Harbor Tunnel, the old one, not the new one, the old one. It was originally 25 cents to go through there. And the people didn't want to pay that because the people paid for it in the first place in their tax money. But in Maryland, they have this thing where the ability to borrow X amount of dollars to do this, bonds, right? What a freaking rip. So what they do is they always word it so yes gets the money. Because everybody goes in there, they don't even think what it's doing to their tax base, nothing. Yes. They hit you used to hit a lever in the olden days, mechanical lever. Yes. If you put yes to dog meat or dog crap should be input all foods, people would vote yes for it because they wouldn't even read it. They just vote yes in Maryland. So they would put for a bond to do the harbor tunnel. And but anyway, they said to pay off that bond, we have to have the 25 cents. You pay the toll to go through, 25 cents each way. People didn't want to pay it. We'll put it in there, it's only until this bond is paid off. Well, that was 1960s, 1970s. Now it's, what is it? I think it's $7 to go through each way. $7. Never paid off. Well, it's been paid off over and over and over and over. And thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of cars go through there every day. DCM says reset it all and over. Yes, reset, but no bring back. Devolution to me is dissolve the government and don't go back to it. Do the Amish. I got to find that city in Mexico. That's going to be part of my homework. I'm going to find that city in Mexico, 2 to 3 million people, 2 to 3 million people. They cut out the entire government, the police, the mayor, the legislature, whoever, the dog catchers. They cut them all out. Crime went away. Problems went away. Everybody had more money. Everything's being solved by local people. No government. You govern yourself. It works. They just don't want you to think it works. Chesapeake Bay Bridge toll. I think it's $7. Let's find out. How much? Oh, Chesapeake Bay Bridge. Let's find out. That's the one that goes across the bay to Ocean City. That's going to be up there. The Bay Bridge for two-axle vehicle is $2.50. The cash toll is $4, and the video toll rate is $6. What the hell is a video toll rate? Video toll rate? That's cheaper than it used to be to go through there. I don't know what happened there. Harbor Tunnel. God. $14? Oh, wait a minute. Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. $14 off peak. Now, this is the newest scam. Like I said, in Maryland, if you can dream it, we can tax it. Check this out. $14 during off-peak periods and $18 during peak season. So just when people want to use it, they jack it up. They have this crazy thing now. You go through the tunnel and you pay your $7 or whatever it is. And you go, you're going up 95, and then you get to 695, the Beltway. But before you get there, 95 is clogged up a lot of times. So what did they do? They built more lanes. But no, wait a minute. It's not to ease the traffic. It's to collect money. So you can get on the new lanes to beat all the traffic, or some of it anyway, to get up to where most people want to go, which is the Beltway, $6.95. But it's not just a $2 toll or $1 toll or whatever. Now, if you go there like 2 in the morning, you might pay 37 cents or something to go on this thing because nobody's on the roads. Who the hell wants to pay? You go during rush hour, it could be $5, $6, $4, whatever. The more you need to use it, the more they're going to jack it up on you. It's a floating up and down. It's like odds at the racetrack. Goes up and down with the traffic. It's a scam beyond belief. Oh my God. Paraplegic Bear. How close are you to Perry Hall? In Perry Hall, there's a place called It's the absolute best. I go out of my way, even if I'm not near Perry Hall. When I go to Baltimore, I go to this sub shop. Why can't I remember the name of it? De Niro's, no. Hilton, no. They're not even listed as the best. Nothing beats these people. Jersey Mike's, you got to be kidding me. Please. And Panera Bread is number 10. I wonder if this is like, these are the best if you pay for it. Pay for the ads. No, what's it called? It'll come to me. I've lost it. It is fantastic. Pizza and subs. And I only found it because I lived less than a mile from there. Just a local, but they've grown. They've doubled, tripled in size since I was there. They're so good. But they're Perry Hall. They're right down from White Marsh Mall. Perry Hall Boulevard and it's another crossroad. Anyway, you'll have to remind me. I'm sorry, I can't come up with the name at the moment. Casamia's. White Marsh. I lived in Perry Hall. I had this little teeny cutout corner of Perry Hall zip code where I lived in. I keep forgetting about that. I'm actually going to share this so you can see it. This is worth going to. Trust me. It is. I love the roast beef subs that they have there. Oh my god. Oh my god. If they didn't require a mask on the plane, I'd go fly and get one now. Here it is. Casamia's restaurant. Here's the phone number. Anyway, that's them. Testimonials. Yum! We got carry out tonight, and oh my god, yummy! The crab cake sub is yummy. They have everything there. Fantastic place. So there you have that. Pizza's fantastic too. Do they do takeout in California? They're evidently not going to take out the governor. Grandpa was butcher. He ate red meat all day, and he was very healthy at old age. Think about it, Dukes. What do they tell you? Red meat's bad for you. Everything's a lie. Put it together, right? Cowpal says red meat cures all diseases. Microwave kids had to butcher their own meats. I believe they would all be in trouble. Wish they knew how to saw cure meats and hang them in a smokehouse. That's old time living for real. And then, you know what else, country boy, and being able to dig out your own what do they call it? It's a storage under the ground. It's a cold. They don't call it cold. It's it acts as a refrigerator. I can't remember what it's called. See, this is telling me I'm way too brain dead right now. I can't remember stuff like that. I'm brain dead to start with, but after 3 hours and 15 minutes. Root cellar, thank you. My neighbor, he dug out his own. And everything kept great in there. Didn't matter if it was hot, cold, whatever. There's books that people have out there that tell you all this old-timer stuff. Yes, root cellar. Thank you very much. Yeah, whale of beef. I'm wiped out too, obviously. Thanks, everybody. We had a great chat tonight. You don't want to take Newsom out. Yeah, let's see if it happens. Monday, we'll be back. Monday. God willing. May God be with each and every one of you for real this weekend until we meet again. And take care. Please leave a thumbs up. Please consider contributing if you can. I'm greatly blessed by those who do. Thank you very much. So we'll be back Monday. Hopefully we'll have more deep state stuff to report. Always follow CDC guidelines. Get vaccinated. It's mandated now. Come on, guys. Stop holding this up. When I end this mess, you know what to do. Only thing is I think I might have to take the donuts. So for a whole year, I can eat nothing but sugar and deep fried, stripped down carbohydrates. Yeah, that's after I've done stuff to my immune system. That's what I want to do. All right. Take care, guys. Thank you all so much for being here. Thanks for a great chat and lively chat. And we will be back on Monday. Same time. That's the plan anyway. See you then, guys. Bye-bye.